Well, this is late, but whatever. I actually didn't know what record to choose for the display here. I was having trouble, but I think I finally decided on one. Yep, I went with the unopened Cavalcade record. This one didn't even come out this year. Another Black Midi album came out this year. That is actually I'm going to mention. So, Black Midi, whatever. I thought it was relevant. I listened to a decent amount of records this year. Most of which I don't really remember. But I do remember listening to them. And I largely remember my thoughts on them. I will be talking about albums which I put into 3 categories in this list. The worst stuff I heard, honorable mentions, and the best stuff that I heard.
I tried to tell you, I didn't know how to stay. You believe she can see through.
First of all, let's start off with the worst stuff, in my opinion, to come out this year. The order will roughly be about best to worst, but it's not going to be completely exact. I'm glad that people are enjoying Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, but Kendrick was due for a miss after releasing this many banger albums in a row. There are a few albums on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers that I like, and I do generally like what Kendrick was going for artistically on this. Otherwise, this was a total flop for me. It's just way too unfocused and disjunct, and the production is bad, and oh my god, Kodak Black, Jesus fucking Christ. Crash by Charli XCX. I feel like I remember liking a few songs from this when I first listened to it, but I have no idea, man. This was a completely forgettable album. Whatever, next. This was the first Mitski album that I listened to. Love Me More is a slapper of a song. Everything else is lame. A few of my friends are big Mitski fans, and I've talked to them, and they also don't like it. So I don't blame myself for not liking this one. From a Bird's Eye View by Cordae. I listened to it once, and yeah, I don't remember anything from this. I have no desire to go back to it. What I remembered was really, really boring. Forgettable. Next record, please. Midnight's by Taylor Swift. No. I have the same thoughts on this as I have on the Cordae album. Next. This new Red Hot Chili Peppers record. Oh my god. 73 goddamn minutes. To think that on the same flight as I listened to this album, I listened to The Queen is Dead by the Smiths for the first time as well. This was just so fucking boring. I had no hope for it, and I can confirm, it was not good. It was cool of Anthony to shout out San Marino, because that's where I'm from. Other than that, just fuck this record, man. Yikes. Wow. Holy crap. This new Muse album is just beyond awful. When I listened to it, I was genuinely in awe at just how bad it was. It's insane. I have to honestly kind of give it credit for that, at least, because it's memorable for how bad it was. I mean, what the fuck, man? These are the same guys that made Absolution. How the hell could they make something this bad? Jesus.
From the 31st floor of the simulation swarm.
Next, I have some honorable mentions, rapid fire. No order for how I'd rank them, as these are just some random standout albums that I liked, but I didn't like enough for them to make the top 7. First, we got Melt My Eyez, See Your Future by Denzel Curry. Next, we got Coping Mechanism by Willow. Third, we have Crest by Echo 2K and Bladee. Next, we have Cheat Codes by Danger Mouse and Black Thought. Fifth, we have Weatherglow, the collaboration EP between Asian Glow and Weatherday. Sixth, we have Component System with the Auto Reverse by Open Mike Eagle. And lastly, we have Versions of Modern Performance by Horse Girl. Alright, on to the best stuff. precisely ranked worst to best. They're all still good though, trust me. This just barely makes the list for me because I was thinking of keeping this list down to 6 instead of 7 because I just didn't know if this album was good enough to make the best of the list. But I decided it was. Overall, fantastic debut. It's a little bit disjunct in terms of flow and genre mixing, as overall many of the songs don't really match that well together. Lancaster Court to 50/50 is wacky as fuck. I do think that Jockstrap can do better than this debut, as proven by their first EP released in 2018. But I do think that this album backs up their already proven talent, and shows that they just need a bit of time to know where they want to take their music stylistically. Do they want to keep it the very low-key folk of Lancaster Court? Or do they want to go down the more banger dance track route with Jennifer B and 50/50? Or do they want to keep up this sort of mixing of genres and just putting what they think sounds right on an album, whether they fit or not? Whatever they do next, I'm excited to hear from them. Okay, so I was going to talk about Blue Rev more in depth in a separate video, but that video is now scrapped, and I guess I'll just talk about it here. When I first listened to this album just back in December, I was absolutely addicted to it. I really don't know what it is about it that just keeps me happy, that just kept me coming back, and even now sometimes I keep coming back to it over and over again. Because there's just something so absolutely fantastic about it. I would say that the first 5 songs on this is some of the best indie pop that I've heard in a long time. But really this whole album is some of the best indie pop that I've heard in a long time. And it's really just amazing to be able to be excited about a band like Alvvays in today's indie scene. By the way, this is still the only Alvvays album that I've listened to, so I think this was a fantastic introduction. Number 5, Cave World by Viagra Boys. Holy crap, this album is so good. I think that there might be a few moments near the end of the track list that sort of fall flat, but honestly on re-listen, I don't know what I was thinking in thinking that this album was even slightly weak, because this album gets so many things right. The lyrics criticizing modern society, and specifically internet culture and how that influences the far right, and how people perceive themselves are just absolutely amazing. Creepy Crawlers is just one of the biggest grower songs of the year for me, and also one of the funniest, despite it being a hauntingly true depiction of QAnon insanity. Okay, so honestly, this album is only at number 4 because I've just been vibing more with my number 3 pick, but they are essentially equal in placement. This might possibly be Black Midi's best batch of studio work yet, but Schlagenheim might be on par with it. Not entirely certain, but they definitely did an amazing job with the songwriting and instrumentation on this one. I love the concept of the album being about all these terrible people who most certainly will go to hell for what they have done. Both Jordy and Cameron prove themselves far more on here than their other albums as great lyricists, but just like on their last 2 records, they also continue to prove themselves as 2 absolutely fantastic musicians. Morgan also reprises his role as the greatest living drummer that I know of. I mean, holy shit, this guy absolutely shreds on the drums, and I'd give my life to just be able to channel even an ounce of his ability myself. Number 3, Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You by Big Folk. Big Folk? What? Big Thief by Big Thief. I'm very surprised that this is not my folk album of the year. Really just front to back, an absolute joy to listen to. I actually got recommended this album by my English teacher from last year, and there were some instant catches in the track list, but I'd say that most of the record was a really big grower for me. It is long, but it is so worth it to be able to make it through the full thing, to be able to appreciate it in all of its acoustic beauty. I love Adrian's voice, and I love the absolutely lovely and oftentimes simple instrumentation. Number 2, The Ruby Chord by Richard Dawson. I haven't decided whether this is a perfect album or not, but it just might be. I think that now I will just never not love whatever Richard releases. Okay, I've been recording so long that my camera stopped recording. He's just such a forward-thinking artist, and he always knows what he wants to say about society. But he does it in the most weirdest, most interesting ways possible. Some of the best instrumentation I've heard on any album this year. Just amazing. Okay, we're getting to the behemoth. The one that's officially in my top 40 as we speak. Eyez from Up There by Black Country New Road. I think I've decided to save my full thoughts on this for a later video about Black Country as a whole. But I'm going to briefly cover my thoughts here. This is just an absolutely phenomenal record front to back. It's not for the first time. Not for the first time. And I wouldn't say it's as good as For the First Time. But the fact that these guys and girls can release 2 perfect albums back to back is just beyond amazing. What I'm about to say is an incredibly bold claim. And I might not even agree with it myself on certain days. But For the First Time and Eyez from Up There are the best 2 albums released in a row by the same band since OK Computer and Kid A. And that's accounting for Sound of Silver, and this is happening by LCD Sound System. I might not even agree with that statement, because I think that Sound of Silver and the 70 might be better than For the First Time and Eyez from Up There on certain days. But that just shows you how just amazing these 2 albums from this band have been, and this album is just phenomenal. Anyways, if you guys haven't checked out any of the artists I talk about, go check them out and form your own opinion. Because I know that there are some takes that I have on certain albums on here that are very unpopular. And I also just very much recommend the ones that I like. Thank you all so much for watching.
I wanna drop my arms and take your arms.